Hello guys, I'm going to just commentate and read this whole thing for my English homework. I don't have to make a video. I just actually just read it. It was very hilarious. And I want to share with you guys. Oh, you guys can read the top there. Give you 3 seconds. Count once. Going twice. Going 3 times. Okay, good. Let's start with the actual story. But this is supposed to be a humorous story, by the way. As you can see in the top, when I gave you those 3 seconds, including whatever I am telling you this discretion. But anyways, let's start this. Men are still basically scum when it comes to helping out in the kitchen. This is one of the 2 insights I had last Thanksgiving. The other one being that Thanksgiving night must be the slowest night of the year in terms of human sexual activity. Uh-oh. Nobody wants to engage in human sexual activity with somebody who smells vaguely like yams and is covered with a thin layer of turkey grease, which describes pretty much everybody in the United States on Thanksgiving except the Detroit Lions, who traditionally play football that day and would therefore be too tired. Wouldn't that be any football team? But that, as far as I can tell, is not my point. My point is that despite all that has been said in the past 20 years or so about sexual equality, both men make themselves as useful around the kitchen as ill-trained Labrador retrievers. I think that's the type of dog. This is not just my opinion. It is a scientific finding based on an exhaustive study of what happened last Thanksgiving when my family had dinner at the home of friends named Arlene and Jean. Picture a typical Thanksgiving scene. On the floor, 3 small children and a dog who long ago had her brain eaten by fleas are running as fast as they can directly into sinks trying to injure themselves. Hey, that's typical. A dog have fleas in its brains. Anyway, on the television, the Detroit Lions are doing pretty much the same thing. In the kitchen, Arlene, a prosecuting attorney responsible for a large staff, is doing something with those repulsive organs that are placed in little surprise packets inside turkeys, apparently as a joke. Intriguing. Surrounding Arlene are thousands of steaming cooking containers. No more into the kitchen that would attempt to park a nuclear aircraft carrier. But my wife, who runs her own business, glides in very casually and picks up exactly the right kitchen implement and starts doing exactly the right thing with everything, any instructions whatsoever. She quickly becomes enshrouded in steam. Well, that is how me and the other guys tend to be in our cooking class and cooking club. Maybe it's just me, but there's only the one girl I know who's not lazy, who don't seem like a bad cook. But in my experience, the guys in my class and cooking club are the real hard workers, with the exception of that one girl. Anyways, I digress. So Jean and I, feeling like the scum we are, finally bumble over and ask what we can do to help. And from behind this thing comes Arlene's patient voice, asking us to please keep an eye on the children, which we try to do. But there is a famous law of physics that goes, you cannot watch small children and the Detroit Lions at the same time. And let's face it, the Detroit Lions are more interesting. This article, by the way, is very it's, to me, it's pointless, but at the same time it's funny. So we would start out watching the children, and then one of us would sneak a peek at the TV and say, hey, look at this tackle, and then we have to watch for a while to see the replay and find out whether the tackle person was dead or just permanently disabled. By then the children would have succeeded in injuring themselves or the dog, and this voice from behind the kitchen steam would call very patiently, Jean, please call the children. I realize this is awful. I realize it sounds just like Ozzy and Harriet. I also realize that there are some males out there with hyphenated last names who have advanced much farther than Jean and I, like Isaac Brown, who are not afraid to stay home full-time and get covered with baby vomit while their wives work at Test Palace. Yeah, I'm not one of them. And who go into the kitchen on a daily basis to prepare food for other people. Well, I just prepare for my partner, as opposed to going in there to get a beer and maybe some peanut butter on a spoon. That reminds me of my dad. But I think Jean and I are fairly typical. I think most males rarely prepare food for others, and when they do, they have their own specialty dish. Spaghetti in my case. For my dad, that was barbecue. They prepare maybe twice a year in a very elaborate production for which they expect to be praised as if they had developed right there in the kitchen a cure for cancer. I know it's a hard disease, but it sounds better you say cancer. I mean, in defense of men, let me say this. Women do not make it easy to learn. Let's say a woman in the kitchen working away after having been at her job all day, and the man feeling guilty finally shovels in and offers to help. So the woman says something like, well, you can go cut up the tune-ups. Now to the woman who had all the sexist home economics training back in the pre-feminism era. Why can't the 21st century be that era? Anyway, this is a very simple instruction. It is the absolute simplest thing she could think of. But to the man who got his training in shop class, learning things he would never, ever need to know for the rest of his life, unless he becomes a mechanic, such as how to make dado joints. Somebody comment below and tell me what is a dado joint. This instruction raises many troubling questions. Number 1, which ones are the tune-ups? Number 2, do you have to wash them first? 3, do you have to peel them? Then why do you just wash them? What do you peel them with? 4, do you cut them into strips, cubes, little round pieces? Do you use the same thing you peel them with? This is just a partial list of the questions that I, for one, would have if someone asked me to cut up the turnips. Okay, I won't turn on him because I never actually cooked with turnips before, so I'm pretty sure they're not too different from an onion. So what the man does is he sort of fumbled around for a while and finally picks up something which he later identified as the zucchini. Really, bro? And approaches the thing with it, and the woman snatches it from his hand and says very politely, much too politely. No, not politely, very patiently, much too patiently. Hashtag reading fail. That's alright, I'll do it. And off he slinks. Hashtag burn. One more example. If I ever, for any reason, attempt to heat water in the pot, my wife will saunter by and, very quietly, without making a fuss, she'll change the water to some other sized pot. I feel like that happened with me and my mom before. Anyway, it makes no difference what size pot I start with. She will change it based on her thousands of hours of kitchen experiences and sexist training. And I will continue to feel like the kitchen bozo. I don't know if it's yeah, back in his day probably was sexist. Oh, who knows or care. I asked my wife to read this and tell me what she saw. This is what she said. She said before women's liberation, men took care of the cars and women take care of the kitchen. Whereas now that we have women's liberation, men no longer feel obligated to take care of the cars. This seemed pretty accurate to me. So I thought I'd just tag it on the end here while she makes waffles. Again, first of all, that was funny. But two, you would think that if that guy is traditional, he's a typical type of guy from his day, you would think that he would be working on his car. Even though I'm going to do this, let's take a look at the discussion questions. Identify the stereotypes about the gender to which Barry refers. Women work in the kitchen, men are idiots. There you go. Barry's telling her it's comic. How does his use of humor relate to comparison of men and women? She talked about the how he makes the most simple mistakes, like mistaking a turnip for a zucchini, and the woman corrects them. They refute stereotypes about the difference between men or women or confirm them. Well, no, he confirmed them because look to that part. He said this seemed pretty accurate to me, so I thought I'd just tag it on to the end here while she makes waffles. So no, he confirmed his stereotypes. Connections. Compare the use of humor to that of the David Setters in A Plague of Ticks, page 359. Okay, I don't even have that, so I'm not doing that. Number 4. Think of different kinds of behavior you notice people engaging at holiday gatherings. Can you get a berry that make general points about people from your specific observation of these behaviors? Well, thing is, I can, but I won't. Because, I'd rather just listen to my MP3 on my phone, have the adults talk to each other, well, my other fellow adults now since I'm 18. But, yeah, I have my, I did have everybody else interact with each other while they listen to my MP3. Anyway, y'all, this is my reading skills right there. See y'all around.